What's up, everyone? Emerald here from Emerald's Daily Carry, and today we have our final episode from the Travel Goods Association Show 2025. We're wrapping things up with a deep dive interview from Thule, going over their brand story, unique perspective on carry, and how that influences their designs. Let's get into it. What's up, everyone? Emerald here from Emerald's Daily Carry. I got Graham here, Director of Product from Thule. We're at the Travel Goods Show here in Las Vegas. Would love to talk a little bit about the brand, what it's got coming up, and a little bit about the history, because I think it's a very interesting one. So let's start there. Back at the beginning, how do you even pronounce the name? Am I saying it right? I think that you guys are a Swedish brand, something about that?
That is correct, yeah. So the brand, we are Thule. We often get Thule, which makes sense as far as pronouncing the brand, but we're a Swedish brand. We were born in 1942 in the woods of kind of central Sweden. That's ultimately where the name Thule came from. It was our founder, Eric Thulin, as a family name, and so we've basically carried that name throughout to where we are today. Many folks know us for, maybe our bike racks, our roof boxes. Some of our earliest products were tied to the automotive space. We've been in bags for about 20 plus years, and I would say, our general motto and tagline that pulls us all together as far as all of our disparate products is really bring your life. Throughout life, you're trying to get from point A to point B. You're trying to wrangle all of your gear, whether that's your bike, your boards, your skis, everything that you're taking with you on your travels or your daily commute. So that's ultimately what we are as brand.
And you said something about fishing gear or something was your first product. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, how the heck did we get to bags from fishing gear?
Yeah. So in 1942, one of our first products was a pike trap, so think fish, right? And so this really rooted us in the outdoors, where folks were kind of going outside, taking a car trip into the deep woods of Sweden, fishing in lakes. And so we developed a product that actually could catch and fish. And then that slowly evolved into headlight covers to prevent stones from breaking headlights on vehicles, because back then there were no paved roads, right? And then that evolved into roof racks, and that evolved into bike racks. And then, we expanded from there as far as that whole bring your life philosophy.
Yes. And now we're talking about bags, which is a very cool topic, the thing that we talk about here on the channel. Talk to us a little bit about the design philosophy of your bags. Go anywhere. We want you to get from point A to point B, but what's the Thule way of doing that?
I would say that our brand is really rooted in two core elements. So number one is quality and durability. That's what we stand for as a brand, no matter what product you're looking for in our entire portfolio, be it a roof box, be it a piece of luggage, be it an everyday carry as far as a sling or backpack. So we always have really robust testing. In fact, we have a state-of-the-art testing facility in our headquarters in Hillerstorp, Sweden, which is in central Sweden. Very extensive facility that is able to do drop testing, tumble testing. We actually have car seats, so we have a device that can simulate a car crashing to make sure ultimately that car seat and that roof box are safe and aren't going to fly off your car. So that's something that we're very much focused on and is a core principle of us. And then I think the second thing that is very signature for us as a brand is a very Scandinavian aesthetic as far as the overall design, look and feel of the bags. So you can see you'll have a lot of minimalism in our aesthetic. However, you have a lot of feature, a lot of value, a lot of things that kind of are hidden, but will provide that kind of 2-for-1 feature of, wow, it's pretty simple overall. It's not a very cluttered looking bag or product, but it delivers so much for the end consumer.
Yeah, and I think that that's really apparent when you talk about like Swedish design, specifically for bags. I think that the weather climate there is pretty intense. I think durability and quality are probably people's number one concern, especially when they're getting into that like over $150 range of a bag. They want it to last for a really long time. And it's so good to hear that that is like a top priority for Thule.
Absolutely. If you're going to invest in a product and if you're going to pay for a nicer product, that product ultimately needs to last. And in terms of design, right, we're also going to go after more classic silhouettes, shaping, colors, and really that's meant to ensure that when we build a product, a customer is going to be happy with it for 10, 15 years. Our intention is not that somebody buys a Thule product and after 2, 3 years, 5 years even, they get sick of it. It's the color's out of style or something's broken. In terms of sustainability, you want a product that you're going to be excited about for decades.
Yes, I 100% agree. Buy it once, never buy it again is my philosophy. Talking a little bit about the newer products that are coming out, just from my pleb eyes, it looks very lifestyle focused, more travel oriented, a little bit less like rugged looking, which is some of the other Thule options here. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this over here is our Thule Aion Collection. Very successful for us. As a brand, we kind of blur the lines. We're rooted in the outdoors from our history back in 1942 to where we currently sell today. However, when you tie that in with that Scandinavian aesthetic of simple, straightforward, it ends up becoming, I guess, a little bit less overtly outdoorsy. However, durability is really important. So to get into that and talk a little bit about that with Thule Aion, which is this collection here, we start off with a wax canvas fabric. And this wax canvas is highly durable, extremely weather resistant. And then the wax coating on it kind of develops this really nice patina over time to give it a little bit of character. So you can kind of look back at that bag and enjoy all the journeys you've taken with it.
Yeah, no, you just said my two favorite words in the entire universe, which is wax canvas. I love wax canvas. I think that it looks super cool. And even just like glancing at these bags very briefly, I was like, I wonder if that is wax canvas. I do see a little bit of that patinaing. And that's like my favorite part about wax canvas is that it kind of just conforms to you. It conforms to your journey. Your bag is not going to look exactly like someone else's, which is like that uniqueness factor to it, but also having it be just like such a great fabric to work with that it's also a natural fabric. It's not like polyester or some other like thing that makes it waterproof. It's just wax.
Yeah. Exactly. And then obviously for us, when we talked about being intentional with all of our design, with all of our builds in our product, it's not as though we're just looking for an aesthetic and that's what we're going for. Yes, aesthetics are always important in any bag, right? The first thing you do is you say, hey, I like that bag.
Yeah.
But when you actually get into any bag, so an example here, we've got a toiletry kit. So you've got the wax canvas outer. We pair that with a nice PU coated zipper. And then on the bottom, you've got a hypalon bottom. Mm-hmm. And you could say, well, what is the purpose of that when you're ultimately using it as a toiletry kit? Oftentimes you're spilling stuff all over your sink. You're wanting to put the product down, make sure that it stands up nicely, make sure that no water or anything gets on the inside of the bag, or equally importantly, when you spill things on the inside, it doesn't migrate its way on the out.
Yeah.
So what we do here, we pair the wax canvas with the PU coated zippers, the hypalon bottom. This particular product, you can kind of release these ears, give it a little bit more space in here. And one of the beauties of this is actually when you open this up, it has a tendency to open up on its own to really display your stuff. And then on the inside, we've got a TPU coated liner fabric that really keeps those spills on the inside, makes sure things are easily wipeable.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And even just when you're describing it, like just even this touch as like having a TPU coated liner in the inside, it's so hard to find that in toiletry bags, even though it's like, well, what do you think is going to happen? With a toiletry bag, something might spill in there just on an accident. It's really great to see this kind of consideration for that. Like, I think that's where really great design meets a product is like, yeah, why doesn't everyone do something like this?
Not everyone does something like this because it's a TPU fabric. Ultimately ends up costing a little bit more. Folks are looking to hit a specific price point. But once again, our philosophy is buy once, have this solution that lasts for quite some time and ultimately meets your needs to say, this is the toiletry kit that I've been looking for.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a really cool take on it because there are so many products out there on the market now. It's basically like the golden age of bags. It's any bag that you want, anything that you have like that really specific use case for. It's like it's there. It actually exists now in the world, which is very cool. We're not all just like trying to cram all of our things into this sack. So your implementation of a product that everyone needs, and then it's like, cool, it's out there on the market, and if you dig that, then it's there, you know?
Absolutely. Here's another one of those examples of just a smaller product that delivers quite a bit in terms of functionality. There's a lot of travel organizers or wallets out there on the market, right? There's no shortage of them. Many of them kind of follow that kind of traditional path of, hey, you have a place to store a bunch of cards, you have a place to store your passport, etc. And then we know that everybody's carrying kind of iPhone cables, chargers, etc. So what we wanted to do is come up with something that was a little bit more compact versus something huge, right? You're not going to carry 50 cards with you anymore. Maybe. And so what we have developed is a very small travel organizer. It can store cables, it can store cards, but most importantly, we know that every travel is not quite the same. So what we have is this little kind of removable pouch. It's magnetized, so it pops in and out quite easily.
Magnets, how do they work?
Holds in place. The intent here is that you can put your passport in, put it in your back pocket when you're going through immigration. You can have your cables, throw this in your backpack, and so you can combine them or separate them kind of how you see fit.
No, I love the versatility of it so that it's like when you are in one specific situation, it does the thing that you want. And when you're in a different one, it does exactly what you want still. And I think people are super gravitated towards these kinds of products now that are like much slimmer. Like I need to really pare down my kit just because there's so many weight restrictions now with traveling. So I think something like this kind of hits all of those specific marks. So very cool to see from you guys. And then I saw that you have a little blue sign sticker on there. Talk a little bit about that as like that's an important part of the brand is sustainability. How does that affect the design process for you to have that blue sign certification?
In terms of our focus as a brand, our intention is always to start off from a sustainability with product that lasts, but then we have to pair that with materials and trims, zippers, etc., that also can kind of meet up and deliver on a sustainability promise. So on all products, we either have a blue sign or recycled or blue sign and recycled story. And that really comes down to, from a blue sign perspective, we're talking about fabrics. And what blue sign really focuses on is making sure that the chemicals that go into a product are vetted, make sure that they're as environmentally friendly as they can be. And then it also goes into the factories that we work with. So it also focuses on ethical standards, making sure that we have fair wages for those folks that are developing the materials, making sure that they have a safe work environment to ultimately pair those together to develop high quality materials and fabrics. And then on the recycled side, that's a little bit more straightforward, where you have post-consumer inputs that will ultimately make recycled materials. And so we'll use recycled not only fabrics, but also polycarbonate back shells. So for Thule Aion, our back shell is 50% recycled as well.
Is there any bag from, I know we kind of already went through two of the accessories in this line. Are there any bags that you wanted to go over with this line that has like some very unique features that are like Thule specific?
We have plenty of products that have really unique and interesting features, and it's one of those, I would say, throughout the entire line. You do yourself a disservice if you kind of look at the front picture, because everything has something inside of it. So let's see, where can we start? We'll go through this line and we'll just talk through some of the key elements.
Some of the key ones.
Number one, if we talk about our 28 liter and our 40 liter travel backpacks, we have this sling that we have wrapped around here, but the sling, if we pull it apart. So this sling is sold as a separate piece, but we all know that a 28 liter backpack and a 40 liter backpack can get heavy over time. One of the beauties is this sling can actually slide behind the back panel.
Oh.
So it does kind of two things. Number one, it allows extra support so you can carry your bag quite a bit more easily. And then number two, if you're traveling specifically and you want to keep your passport, your cash, etc. hidden, there's no better place to have it than back behind this back panel. So it slides right back behind there. And then the cool thing is when you want to actually get access to it, you can kind of slide it around, get access to it from the front, slide it back.
Oh, yes.
So quick and easy access from that perspective.
You know, that is so cool. I love it when brands just like have like vertical integration with their products where they all kind of work together so that they fill in gaps if you want that to be filled or you don't need it. Like that's such a really great feature to have. And I think a lot of people now, because of those weight restrictions, you know, 1.5 bag travel is super, super popular. You know, I have a bigger bag, goes in the overhead, and then I have that sling that has all of my flight entertainment. And then when I'm there, this is my pocket reliever. So that's such a very cool feature. I'm glad that you pointed that out because I don't think I've ever seen that as far as like an integrated specifically in that area of the bag. When you were designing this one specifically, when did that design feature like pop up in the process and like how hard was it to like implement specifically for that?
So one of the early elements of this collection as far as, hey, what does it stand for? What does it mean? We focused early on that whole notion of kind of a one bag travel and how you can do more with less. And so that manifested itself in kind of two ways. One, on the sustainability side, right? We've got blue sign, 100% recycled. And so if you have fewer inputs going into the product, that's more with less. And then on the back side, it was, hey, how can we make sure that our our solutions are really versatile and meet a consumer from that perspective and meet their needs overall. So that was really the general philosophy that spawned kind of this whole idea of pulling them together. We wanted to make sure that they were able to live in a very meaningful way on their own. However, when combined, kind of have a 1 + 1 = 3 type thing.
Yeah. No, I think that is super cool. And it's very cool to like just kind of get a little peek behind the curtain as far as how that process works, because, you know, it takes a really long time to get products out on the market. That whole process takes years.
Yes.
You know, so it's just so cool to see like, how did those design decisions get made and how that ended up translating into these products. So thank you so much for that little inside scoop here at Thule at the Travel Goods Show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very nice to meet you.
Well, that's going to do it for this one. I want to thank all the brands that we had the pleasure of speaking with at the trade show and for the TGA for hosting such an awesome event. We can't wait to see what's in store for next year. If you like this content and you want to help support the channel so that we can keep making videos like this one, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, and hyping the video. That list is getting super long, so I appreciate any support that you're willing to show. My name is Emerald from Emerald's Daily Carry. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.